Welcome to Healing Shame with Jeffrey Byard. Today is June the 11th, and I'm going to go ahead and put that reading up on your screen. June 11th, Fear. This is from Strengthening My Recovery text. Here we go. Adult children often live a secret life of fear. It's from the Big Red Book, page 10. Every day, individuals use faith to overcome fear. As polar opposites, fear and faith cannot occupy the same space. Fear involves a tightening of the senses, whereas faith requires a complete release of them. The ACA recovery program teaches us to identify and expose our fears to the light of day. We accomplish this with the loving support of others and our higher power. We do this in a safe environment where no one judges us for our past, or our fears, or for the ingrained reactions we carry from our childhoods. Most of us go through life waiting to exhale, waiting to not feel defined by the position we hold, our possessions, or someone else's concept of who we should be. We have given our fear a lot of power to control our reactions, but we are exhausted by all this work and want to feel peace and serenity in our lives. ACA gives us the chance to feel free, to be the person we were meant to be, someone who is loved and respected for who we are, not what we do. As we strengthen our belief in our higher power, we free ourselves from our fears and stop believing our staunchest critic, our false self. We become our own loving, nurturing parent. Here's our mantra. On this day, I will be aware of any fear that encroaches on my ability to focus on recovery. With the loving support of my fellow ACAs and my higher power, I will release that fear and feel at peace. That's copyright 2013 Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families, World Service Organization. Fear. It's an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of my existence seems to be shot through with it. Quite frankly, I've got a lot of fears, and I was just thinking about those, and I'll just try to rattle off what some of those are, because this is about exposing, this is about being vulnerable. And then what do I do with those fears? How do I contend with those? So first of all, what are some of the fears that still linger in my life? Well, one of them is fear of people being better than me. Having to compete, having to try to be something in this world, feeling I have to prove myself, that I'm worthy, that I can make some kind of contribution to society, whether that's a global society, American society, whatever it is. I have that ingrained in me very much. I have a fear of crowds, of being in public. I know there's a name for that. I don't remember exactly what it is offhand, but there's a fear of being in a space. Maybe it's agoraphobia. I'm not sure exactly, but I have a fear of being in a place where there may be some kind of embarrassment that can come from it. I think that's agoraphobia. So I still have that, and it tends to be in public, where people can scrutinize my every move. I'm scared of judgment by others, people judging me. I'm scared of conflict. I have fear of conflict and having to stand up for myself or having to stand up for somebody else. If somebody does something blatantly wrong and I may have to engage in physical combat with that person, yes, there's fear. What am I going to hurt them real bad? Are they going to hurt me? What will happen? A lot of unknown, fear of uncertainty, fear of unknown, fear of the future, fear of my mother dying. It's a pretty big fear because I feel that I haven't really cleared the air with her and got any closure on some old stuff that happened from childhood. So, of course, I'm afraid for her to pass away in general. That's a big fear. So I have social anxiety as well. So there's fear of being out, like I mentioned earlier. Fear of death. Yeah, I have fear of death. I'm afraid to die. I don't know, what's on the other side and all that stuff. If there's an afterlife at all, if there's even a soul or a spirit. So there's some fear there. So there's quite a few fears still going on in myself, and I feel like I still let people control me in a lot of ways and let my fears rule my life. Also, fear of authority figures. So I'm still afraid when a uniformed person comes along, I will tighten up, I will clench. Something inside me will feel uncomfortable. Even if that's right here in China, where you walk into, where you're sitting in the subway, and one of the little security guys with his little baton on his side is just kind of just like shambling through or something, harmless as a mouse. But still, I don't like them. I don't like uniformed people, police officers, security guards. I have fear of that, authority figures, and anybody who comes across as an authority figure. So definitely some of that's still going. Oh, and I have fear, my teeth, big fear of smiling at people because I fear people are going to judge me for my screwed up, messed up, twisted teeth. And I'm working on getting like Invisalign or, one of those teeth straightening programs. I'm actually working on that here in China. So I've begun the process of investigating different systems to use. So I'm trying to address that. And what are some other ways that I address my fears? Well, I when my prayer life is really on track, I get up in the morning, I pray here at the foot of the bed, and I ask my higher power to remove my fears. And that's straight out of AA text and literature. For example, on page 68 of the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says, we ask God to remove our fears and direct our attention to what He would have us be. So immediately I can address my fears by just praying and to have those removed. Recently, I've been going out with my girlfriend and we've been going to the buffet place. It's a vegan or a vegetarian, vegan actually place. No milk, no eggs, just vegetables. And I've been praying to Buddha, to the little, with lighting the joss stick, the incense. And I've been asking, for good health, happiness, and success, peace, and praying for various other people and asking for fears to be removed. So prayer, some kind of meditation, telling people about my fears, asking them to be removed by my higher power, trying to put myself in an exposed, like exposure therapy, where I actually go out and address the fear directly, whether that's putting myself into a crowd or directly looking at an officer or a security guard and just staring at them, not threateningly, but just looking like these are just regular people, trying to dress them up in street clothes and take them out of the uniform in a mental image, my mind's eye, trying to dress them down, if you will, and see that they are just regular people doing a job. Easier said than done in the United States when you're confronted with a big gorilla, a stocky police officer who's hovering over you with the authority to shoot or arrest you at will. That's a little harder to do, especially when they have a bad attitude. Um, but I'm working on it, okay? I mean, all I can say is progress, not perfection. And I do have quite a bit of exposure to even uh, aspects of police brutality in the United States. I have been beat around, some of it my own doing, some of it not, by police, and so I'm a little trauma there, a little traumatized. Um, so I'm working on things with prayer, program work, expressing my vulnerabilities, reading through the literature, how to outgrow fear, how to handle fear. Spot check inventories are another great way to deal with fear. Looking at my part in it, analyzing it, using 10-step spot checks with my ACA sponsor, or even with some AA program friends, reaching out and addressing the fears that way. How do I know I'm in fear? I know I'm in fear because my breathing is off. And if I'm not breathing in and out, I'm probably tightened up and I'm in fear. Like it says in the beginning, fear means that fear, you're in fear when you're tightened. And you know when you're not in fear when you're released and relaxed. So checking my breathing as a gauge to know if I'm in fear or not. And then working on the corrective action, which is just breathing exercises and just trying to breathe correctly. That's it. That's all we got today. I think it's been very good and laid out properly. And that is just my experience, strength, and hope with fear. And fear is probably not something I'm ever going to overcome fully. There's also healthy fear of crossing the road and getting hit by a car, a survival instinct, a human survival instinct. But the irrational fears are the things I have to take care of on a daily basis. And one more I want to mention real quick is hypochondria. If I feel a little bump on my body, or my bowels aren't moving properly, or I'm not urinating right, all of a sudden I catastrophize. Oh, I have cancer. I've got a tumor. So that's hypochondria. So I do have hypochondria as well. I've got a crap load of them. I'm working on them. Hopefully, my higher power will remove those or integrate them one by one daily. And until next time, breathe, people, breathe. And I got to remember that myself. Breathe today. All the best. We'll see you next time.